How's it going, my friends? We're back. This is part 2, and we're just gonna get at it. So I realized I made the right move in breaking down the film into 3 parts because I'm able to see it much better, understand all the plot lines, understand all the characters, critique the outfits. So I'm definitely very proud of having separated the film into 3 parts. So the main plot is Sebastian winning a bet against his stepsister Catherine and being able to have sex with Annette. So that's that plot number 1. And the subplot is Catherine wanting revenge on her ex-boyfriend Kurt Reynolds. She will do so by destroying his girlfriend's Cecil reputation. And Catherine wants to do this either by getting Sebastian to have sex with Cecil, or by Catherine exposing the relationship that Cecile has with her cello teacher Ronald. So here it's a taboo relationship on 2 layers because one, it's interracial, like apparently at that time like that wasn't that common, maybe around those circles. And then the second reason is because it's like a teacher-student relationship, and that's very taboo as well. So one clear highlight of the film is that the plot is very focused, and I've seen this as well with The Dreamers, Bertolucci's film, that is also based on Les Enfants Terribles, Le Film Français, and is the idea that you have a small cast, only like 3 or 4 characters, but you explore them in more depth as opposed to having a lot of characters, a lot of ideas. And I've seen it with American, not American because American has independent cinema, but I mean Hollywood films, sometimes they put a lot of characters, like a lot of ideas in one film. And if you guys have familiarized yourself with Frank Miller, a lot of his work, he talks about this topic where he said like Japanese stuff, Japanese manga and anime and work tends to be less characters, less panel, there's less going on, while in American comics there's a lot going on. He was trying to find an in-between. So great author, and he has a lot of good observations, and I'll be reviewing more of Frank Miller's work as well. The Batman Year One and The Dark Knight Returns in the future. And honestly, I'll also focus on non-superhero stuff because I really want to see other work by him, but he had a lot of acute observations which I thought were great. So yeah, and I think here that it's inspired by a French film or a French book, Les Liaisons Dangereuses. We see that it's very focused. First one, Sebastian tries to seduce Annette. Second one, Catherine tries to corrupt Cecile. And both plotline converge with Miss Caldwell, where she spreads false rumors about Sebastian. Well, they're not that false, but to Annette, like she starts feeding her all these ideas that Sebastian can't be trusted. So, story, and this is more of a critique. It feels like this film could be the last Cruel Intentions film, since Annette is the exact opposite of Catherine. She's way too prude. And I'll touch on this prudeness on another video because this is outside of the scope of the video, but it's the idea that I feel that in American culture as well, chastity and virtue, maybe not now, but at least in the 90s, and historically that's valued more. Well, it seems in French culture more libertinism, not to say that that in French culture is more libertine sort of culture, more expressive in that way, more sensual as well, which is all about clothing. And I feel like it's different now. I'll be exploring a lot of this in the future. But she's waiting for marriage to have sex. On the other hand, it feels like Catherine has much more potential. And somebody could also critique that it's like, oh, Annette is from Kansas. It's like a small town, so it makes sense. And I'm sure like the critics will say, well, in the film, in the French novel as well, that one of the girls was also from a small town and stuff. But you guys get the idea. So, because it's also Roger Campbell's direction and approach is also an adaptation. So he could have chosen something different from Annette, but I get it. On the other hand, it feels like Catherine has much more potential, and this is what I'm trying to get at, and this is what I liked Roger Campbell's second Cruel Intentions film much more, because it felt like the series and Catherine as well, they have a lot of potential for expansion, for growth, development that we are not seeing in this film, because it just feels like this is just prudence versus libertinism. They collide and it ends there. Well, in the second film, it feels like we're getting Sebastian to become less prude, and here he's becoming more of a prude. Hence why Cruel Intentions, like why the Cruel Intentions 2 feels like a natural progression, and it could have expanded even further from that. So activities. I'm introducing this new section since I see high value activities surrounding the characters. And this is when I'll work on my photo shoots and stuff in the future. So the first activity is driving luxury cars. The second activity is playing piano. The third activity is reading high-end magazines. The fourth activity is riding horses. The fifth one is a hunting game. And now we're also seeing playing cello as another very cool activity. And this brings us to the picture. We see Catherine, and we also see Cecil and Ronald in the thumbnail. You guys see that they're playing cello. It's a very high-end activity. I really like it, and I'll be talking about this when I talk about the like future films that I'll be working on. All right, so yeah, for instance, I'll just mention it, like the film Permanent Vacation by Jim Haramush. Like, I'm very interested in that film, and I'll be working on it. One of the main characters, he plays saxophone. So it's very high end, and I'm really interested in like upper class sort of activities, and it seems like saxophone is up there. Okay, let's get into outfits. Here again, a nice outfit from Ronald. The striped shirt with green and blue. It feels French-like since Le Marinière shirt, like chemise marinière, c'est similaire. And then you have Cecil's outfit. I feel it lacks color, so the pink one works really well. But then the black one, I guess I didn't resonate with it, but we could also say because it's the end of the relationship she has with Roland. So this is what he was trying to sub-communicate. But still, I feel like it's a bit too serious for her character. And I felt Mrs. Caldwell outfit, like she didn't need to have all those necklaces. Like I felt like it made it comedic. It made it out of touch. But people will be, oh, but it's an MTV movie. But at the same time, I feel like it could have been handled better. So scenes. I like the elevator scene with both Sebastian and Catherine. Both look sharp and very sophisticated. I like how both are trying to manipulate Roland. It's because they're both wearing like the sunglasses, the shades. Also, even though these guys are step siblings, they're touchy. Like Catherine gets on the couch, and then Sebastian is like touching her body and everything, like her waist and that area. So the whole letters give it an intellectual edge, and this is something that I really like about this franchise, is the use of letters. It's intelligent, it's intellectual, it gives it more depth. You know, like a lot of proofs will say, oh, like Cruel Intentions, it's all about sex, but then you have the edge where you're like, it's not just about sex, but about a deeper experience when you're writing your letters, trying to figure out human sexuality. Like, it's very interesting, and it pushes it from pornographic to erotism, which is something I'm very passionate about. The retirement home was a bit boring, to be honest, and I'm happy. Meant to be sweet, but it comes out of all right. And then Annette says that he doesn't believe Sebastian, and then we have a quiet time scene later that is also introspective. So anyway, that dialogue. So quiet time is between Cecil and Sebastian. Like it's more like an interesting scene there. But anyway, so dialogue. I think Ryan Phillips' dialogue feels a little bit over the top, a little bit too high pitched for my taste. While Sarah Michelle Gellar is spot on. I feel that unlike Amy Adams, she seems a bit cooler, and the Gellar speech on enjoying sex is very interesting, very forward thinking, because it's that whole second wave feminism. It has more of a libertine tinge to it. I also like when she says "eat me," since it's an insult, but it also adds to that sexual element. And for all you guys who've been following my rebellious way and rebellious content, it feels like sometimes they get it right, where Rebelde especially, like, because they tend to use more of a sexual dialogue, and they get it right in that they say something sexy but also adds to that sexual tension. So I really like that Eat Me reference to. And then Catherine has another great line where she mentors Cecile. She tells her about orgasms and enjoying sex, and I like that, honestly. And I also like that whole holier than you critique that Sebastian had towards Annette. That was also sharp, your dialogue. So let's go to the acting. We see that Philippe character development, Sebastian Beaumont, since he's starting to become more aware of his actions. As he says, we have done some messed up stuff. We're destroying an innocent girl. With Sebastian's self-awareness coming through. Then also a nice subtle scene for you guys who are very into the subtlety, that when he's with his binoculars looking at Annette who's outside. It's a nice touch because it's very efficient storytelling, because we also have Catherine there and she says, oh, you're being influenced by Annette and she's making you weak. And then the outfits, and this is what I liked a lot, and I'm gonna talk about both there. It's a erotic style of photography, which obviously most likely was originated in France. So Cecile outfit of Red Riding Hood, it's spot on. It's very interesting. I really like that piece. Does it give you that Red Riding Hood vibes? And then I was surprised that Selma Blair, Cecile's actress, later joined Hellboy. I was very surprised with that. I didn't expect Sebastian's green V-neck, long sleeve shirt is also very good. And also give me that whole Calvin Klein vibe. And green style with the black glasses, black long sleeve polo shirt, black shirt, and green pants. So anyway, guys, so we see Sebastian spot on, like he's always getting very cool outfits. But let's go back to Cecile. So I really like that because you also have where she Sebastian unzips her Cecile's hoodie, and it shows her white bra with a pink, with a red hoodie, and it looks very good because we see how the pieces are made. When you have too much, when you're showing too much, like, it doesn't work. But when you show this eroticism, when you have a piece that covers the female form, and then you have the bra, which is the focus of our attention, so then it makes it stand out more. It's just like when you wear, I was having this discussion with a designer the other day, when you wear a white t-shirt and then you wear a jacket or leather jacket, to simplify it, then that jacket stands out more because all our attention is gone to the other piece. While if you're always wearing like very flashy clothes, then our attention is everywhere. Like we can't focus our attention. So some pieces need to be more subdued for others to stand out. So here it's very sexy, the photo shoot Sebastian does with Cecile, because her bra is our attention is on her bra. Well, all the other pieces are just complementary, and the red hood is also stands out. But then she has some sort of like gray pajama pants, and they're simple and gray, and they just get the job done. But I really like her outfit there, and it also conveys her character, because we see that she's being led into the wolf's lair, and the wolves in this case are Catherine and Sebastian. So I really like that detail, and looks sexy. And hey, guess what? For you guys who are like Rebelde Way fans, Maritza was also wearing that kind of clothes where it's like the bra and then that shirt untucked or showing her or unzipped. But anyway, that's a trademark that I'll use in the future. But I really like the detail. But anyway, my friends, so we're gonna go to part 3 right now. And thank you very much. Make sure you're subscribed, and more Cruel Intentions content to come, and the Dreamers as well. That's the next film I'll be reviewing. So thanks a lot, guys. Make sure you subscribe. A bientôt.